blame, you mad it.
I've been getting on my BNB and stacking these. Pairing it with EMP and then I'm LP. How to get myself a bag before the bull run. How to take some should stick it in the boardroom. I've been getting on my BNB and stacking these. Pairing it with EMP and then I'm LP. How to get myself a bag before the bull run. How to take some should stick it in the boardroom. E-pop got me waiting 3 more hours. Sticking all these years higher than a tower. Having all these nodes feel like superpowers. Investing all this bread, never been a coward. Call me Mr. Bond, money in the vault. I stay in the farm, feeling like the goal. Don't worry about the haters, not the detonator. I'll kill in every market, call me Terminator. I've been getting on my BNB and stacking these. Pairing it with EMP and then I'm LP. How to get myself a bag before the bull run. Should stick it in the boardroom. I've been getting on my BNB and stacking these. Pairing it with EMP and then I'm LP. How to get myself a bag before the bull run. How to take some should stick it in the boardroom.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to EMP.Money. This is our live AMA. We come to you every Monday and Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. Today is an absolute monumental AMA. Strap in, get ready. We have a lot to go over, but the number one bit of news we've been teasing for way too long now is we are finally going live with our sacrifice date. So please stay tuned for that. Before we get into all that, we have a record number of people turning in on YouTube and on Telegram. Again, we opened up the intro with a classic from DeFi Proof for those of you that have been in the EMP ecosystem for a while now. So nothing but good news to share all around, tons to go over. But before we get into all of that, please let me introduce and welcome my co-host with the most and fellow team member, LA, how are you? I love it. Let's go.
What's up, guys? I'm good.
Oh my God, that was epic, LA. Oh, I didn't know you were gonna do that. Oh, what a way to start the show. So yeah, what a monumental day, LA, huh?
Yes.
I love
I'm
it.
gonna throw those at you all night.
All right, amazing. LA is now our official sound effect liaison as well. So yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a show tonight, everybody. Get ready. Yeah.
Oh, I told AJ earlier it's already been such an epic day. So tonight is the cherry on top. It's gonna be a massive cherry on top, but it wow, it can only go up from here. So wow.
For sure. No
Thanks
doubt,
for
LA.
joining us, guys.
Yeah. Yes, thanks for everybody for tuning in. Again, record numbers already. Please make sure to smash the like button, comment, and subscribe. Again, all of that really helps our algorithm. And when the AMA is over, or even now, please make sure that you're sharing this AMA, especially because it is the sacrifice reveal date. We need to get the word out starting today. So, yeah, do what you can to help. But before we get into that, we are going to go over some updates throughout our ecosystem. So stay tuned. Again, sit back, relax. It will be a longer AMA, but the news you've been waiting for is coming tonight. So, all right, we're going to start with just a quick market update. LA, anything you want to add before we jump right in here?
Let's jump in. I know they're eager and waiting, so we won't keep them waiting any longer.
Yeah, no doubt. So, again, we'll talk specifically about the EMP and the ecosystem, but as I'm sure a lot of you have already seen, ESHARE is responding to the speculation of this date announcement. EMP itself is looking really good. We had a large whale exit, which we talked about, that was hacked on our last AMA. So he's out now. Again, it's been all buying pressure since then. So, but markets overall are still pretty, what we call a crab market. The summer is usually, let's say, walk away in May. That usually holds up true. People are enjoying the beginning of summer. They're not on the computer that much, so we've kind of just seen the sideways movement of the overall market. But that doesn't mean that we're not bullish of what's coming. And again, right now is a great accumulation phase. Not financial advice, but whether it's within our ecosystems or just blue chips, this is usually the last little lull, post halving where, before the real bull run really kicks off. So, um, we also wanted to shout out PulseChain celebrating their 1 year anniversary today. So it's hard to imagine. PulseChain went live 1 year ago today. So shout out to Richard Hart. Pretty appropriate that and again, we don't do any of this on purpose, but it is pretty funny that we're having a major announcement of Fusion going live on the 1 year anniversary of Pulse. So we have seen Pulse start to recover a little bit, and more specifically, Spark. Spark has been outperforming Pulse quite substantially. So that's really good news for Spark. And again, we haven't even seen anything in terms of additional burns, which we'll talk about with the Spark 404s. All of this is fairly organic, which is even more bullish for what we have coming down the road. So again, still a long way to go, but to see Spark doing what it's doing now before all of that news is an incredibly good sign of what's to come. So, especially while overall, like I said, the rest of the market has been down, or at the very best, kind of going sideways. So, yeah. All right, and we've had two incredibly bullish dev meetings in the last 2 days. You know that we're getting close when, the devs are meeting us on Mother's Day, which was a Sunday as well. And so, we're putting the final pieces together. We have a ton to go over with you tonight, both again about Spark and EMP. So get ready. It's going to be an amazing one. So, LA, anything you want to again add before we go into some Spark updates first, and then we're going to the date reveal.
No, I'm good. Let's hop into the Sparkswap stuff.
All right, amazing. So again, we're starting with Sparkswap. It's looking like this is the week for Spark 404. So not only are we announcing, this sacrifice date, but we're also really, really close with the Spark 404 as well. We're hoping for the end of the week. We're finalizing the marketplace as well as the white paper and all the relevant info. We're hoping that on Thursday we can give you all the last minute, info like sale price, how to get involved, best way to, add liquidity, all those important things that are still a bit vague right now, but we are getting super duper close. All 10,000 NFTs have been finished as well. So I don't have any, again, we're so busy getting ready for the AMA today. I don't have any additional ones to share tonight, but all 10,000 are done, and they are, again, spectacular. And to think that each one of those 10,000 is 100% unique, not only does that provide, the collectability value, but remember, these have real yield attached to them as well. So, um, uh, we're getting really, really close. It's been amazing. So, again, right now we're just really waiting on the marketplace. That has been the final piece of the puzzle. And now that it's finished, in testing, we feel like we're pretty solid for a launch towards the end of the week. So, and then the Spark 404 page will be built out and added to the site. So, just like for those of you that are familiar with our sister project, Cedo, the Cedo 404s, it will be very similar to the Cedo 404 page. And so, from a development standpoint, it won't take long to implement. But those of you that are familiar with that page, you'll be able to again burn your Spark for B Spark. That B Spark again will be used or is the 404 token, and then that will allow you to get involved. Yeah, so the B Spark buys the 404 token, and that's the only way to get the 404 token. And even if we will have a Zapper probably set up to use Pulse or any other you know coins that you would like, but under the hood it's buying and burning Spark. So that's super bullish in terms of economic momentum. Again, not financial advice, but all right. So we are in the process of making some final decisions to get on the fee structure, liquidity, and price. Like I've said before, we had another discussion today. We are definitely going to list the Spark 404s at a much lower price, a substantially lower price, most likely, and that will just allow more, more people to get them, more volume, more potential re-rolling. We feel like it will really help with some of the things that we learned from the Cedo 404 launch. So again, LA and I were working on the white paper. Again, I feel like I'm taking over today, LA. I'm a bit hyped up. So, but yeah, you want to talk about the white paper? You and I are putting the final details, literally just before the AMA. So yeah, go ahead, Ellie.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have been working on the white paper last week and today, just getting it finalized. It's pretty much completely done. We sent it off today to just get the final thumbs up and approval from the devs, just to make sure everything looks good and there's nothing else they feel like needs to be added on there. And then we can get it up on the GitHub, and you'll have all the specifics and everything so that you're locked in and ready to go.
Yeah, 100%. So again, just get your Spark ready. If you're earning Spark from the farm, again, that is essentially allowing you to get into these 404s, without having to bring over additional capital. If you want to try to get a bigger position, definitely consider using some Pulse, buying Spark and then burning that. Or like I said, when we have our Zapper ready, that will do it for you. But the long story short is, you know, we're continuing to give utility to Spark and allow you to earn without ever having to sell a single Spark token. And that's what makes our economics so different than 99% of not only crypto projects, period, but specifically, reward tokens associated with DEXs. So that is our methodology moving forward. Obviously we always combat the inflation. Inflation is a necessary evil in the beginning, especially when we know how to control it. And things like this, again, burning the Spark to get the 404s. Even though Spark is inflationary, we may actually make Spark deflationary. And again, if we just take what we saw with Cedo 404s, it literally cut the circulating supply or the total supply in half. So, it's
Yes.
so bullish, right, Ellie?
We were having this conversation on the dev meeting yesterday. Can you kind of go through those numbers like you did on the call yesterday, actually? Because
Yeah.
that I meant to actually add that to the notes and I forgot. That was so bullish.
Yeah, 100% LA. So again, those of you that are paying attention get the inside scoop here. So it's a bit misleading when you just look at the Pulse Explorer because the total supply of Spark is actually much less than how it appears. And really, again, we're going to talk more about circulating supply rather than total supply, but both will be affected as we roll out this next phase. So the total supply is the amount of Spark tokens that are in existence minus what has actually been burned or sent to the dead wallet address that nobody has the keys to. And so the circulating supply is what Spark is actually available on the market. And so again, just I'm going to give rough numbers just for easy math. They're a little bit different than what I may say, but it allows you to kind of follow along better. So as of right now, there's about 20 million Spark in existence. So that's total supply. And so of that total supply, 40% is actually in Sparkler. And the vast majority of that is a 10-year stake. And because it's locked up for 10 years and nobody can pull it out for those 10 years, it essentially acts as a short-term burn. And so, that makes it that really there's only about 10 million Spark in existence and part of the circulating supply. And if we're able to actually cut that in half, again, just based on the CETO performance, we saw about half of the circulating supply burned. That means that there would only be about 5 million Spark in existence. And, for Spark to be worth just even as a token, not even considering the amount of yield that it produces, but a 10 cent, even at 10 cents for a 5 million supply token is very, very, very low. So this is going to be amazing for our market cap, for again the price movement. Again, not financial advice, but burning really doesn't do much. But when you have a buying and burning mechanism and actual utility with that token, you can absolutely see fireworks. So yeah, LA, again, I know it may be a little bit complicated, but I'm happy you do such a good job of simplifying. But was that what you wanted me to go over?
Yeah, like in a nutshell, most of the circulating supply of Spark is not going to be on the market anymore.
For sure.
Because between Sparkler and the 3650 squad locking up our 10-year stakes
Yeah.
and the Spark 404s burning so much of the circulating supply of Spark, even though on the homepage and on the Explorer it may say, circulating supply, whatever, 25 million. It's actually much, much, much less than that. So it's going to be easier to maintain the price of Spark, and there's more utility for Spark. This is just very good news all around.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, we've always said that we would eventually be moving away from the inflation altogether. And so what this does is literally, not only combat the inflation short term, but when we finally do move away from inflation, it means that there's a lot less Spark available. And so again, in terms of economics, it is extremely healthy for what we're doing. So yeah, and we haven't even really gotten started yet, which is just even more incredible. So, all right, any other info about the 404s or burning
Yeah.
or anything else? Go ahead, Ella. Yep.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but are these the first 404s on PulseChain? Because I feel like they are.
Yeah, so this is a really good question. So I know of two other 404s that never really caught traction. They were part of the first round of 404s that were the original token standard. But we, again, have really brought our own 404 standard. And it is 100% the first 404 that includes reflections. And why this is so bullish is the few test 404s. Again, a big one that comes to mind is called Gophers. There was a Squirrel one, a Richard Hart one. Those really, other than the initial hype, people get in, and then there's really no reason to hold that token, outside of that. And so, because we're adding real yield through these reflections, it gives you a reason to actually accumulate more NFTs and again profit responsibly through the yield without ever just having to get rid of your whole bag and move on. So does that make sense,
Let
Ella?
me let me
Yeah.
rephrase that. AJ, will these be the only 404s that people actually remember and are still relevant a month after launch on PulseChain?
100% LA. Yes, no doubt in my mind. I love it. Yeah, and that's not talking shit about other projects, but this is a whole different ball game, for sure. Yeah. So.
Amazing. So we are ramping up and setting up a big marketing push that will include both the 404s and the PERPS. And so I'm working on setting that up this week so that as we go live with these, we've got that that train leaving the station once again.
Yeah,
AJ, get ready.
I know, no doubt. LA. We're
Uh,
gonna. I
I
won't
think
be
a train
sleeping.
is like a regular line these days. It's just got a schedule that just keeps going.
Yeah,
It never really spends too much time parked at the station these days.
totally, totally. You gotta jump on or you miss it. So yeah, no doubt. But we'll be ready again. We have a ton coming for sure.
We're getting warmed up because when Fusion launches, when Sacrifice comes, it's gonna be like that bullet train in Japan. It's gonna be at full speed. So this is gonna be our warm up for that. So we're getting all that set up today and tomorrow to
Totally.
go to get revved up and going when we release these Spark 404s.
Yep, 100%. We'll have a lot more of this dedicated on Thursday's AMA. Again, that'll be the final. Everything will be a lot more set in stone. We'll go through the white paper live on the AMA and get everybody ready. And we do have a little bonus for those that have the Sparky 404s. I'm sorry, the Sparky NFTs from our partnership with Monstros. Those of you that were collecting all of the set for Defender NFTs, those that got the Easter egg Sparky from the Cedo launch, and any other promo that you've heard us talk about, we will be doing something really special for those 404 in regards to the 404. I know that we had originally said maybe giving you early access, but we actually have an idea that's even more bullish. So yeah, stay tuned for that as well. Again, Thursday's AMA will be a lot more in depth for the 404. So all right, and if all that wasn't enough, we have another feature that we just added. But you anything you want me to add, LA, before we get to the even additional new amazing features with the text?
No, you go for it.
All right, so we have been teasing this again for a while now, but I'm happy to say that it is finally live, and that is have opened up the ability to add liquidity for any token on the DEX. So what this means is just like PulseX or 9inch or any of the other DEXs on Pulse, anybody can add liquidity. And in the beginning, we weren't allowing that on our decks just because we run our own arbitrage bots, and so we keep the economic energy in the ecosystem, and actually use those our bots to support the tokens and to support Spark and Sparkler. But now we've been able to actually do the same process through a smart contract. So anybody adding LP can do so, and everything works, behind the scenes. So what does that mean? So again, if you have your own token, maybe you're launching a meme token, maybe you have a ton of liquidity on another token. That you want to, apply and maybe earn some fees from the volume or something like that, then you can again move your liquidity over to our platform instead of some of the others. So the fees are the same. They don't come with a farm, so you're not going to be earning Spark. If we get enough volume on these particular LPs that move over, we will look into adding farms for those. And if you're a project owner and you want a farm, please get in touch. Again, as long as you reach some certain milestones with volume, and we do require that you buy the equivalent amount of Spark that we will be, giving out in your farm. And that's really bullish because it adds, farms are the number one way to incentivize others to add liquidity to your token. So again, reach out to us on that. And yeah, it's super simple. If you're the first person to do this, there will be 2 transactions. Um, you'll have to set the price ratio between, the 2 LPs, and then you'll get another pop-up that just says create the pair. So it is 2 transactions. But yeah, all right, go ahead, Ella. You want me to clarify?
Nope, that sounds good.
All right, and we will be doing more info about this again as we move forward. Again, we have so much happening at once that sometimes we don't want things to fall through the cracks. So we will be
For sure.
addressing it again. So, all right, go ahead,
Maybe
Ella.
on Thursday we can show them how to actually do it as
Yeah,
well.
great idea. Totally. So, and again, it takes a day or two, but all the new LPs will eventually show up with the logo, and again, add to our volume on the DEX itself. So, it just has to be indexed. But all right, awesome. Again, we are now I mean, we've always been a fully fledged DEX, but now anybody can add liquidity with Sparkswap. So, all right. All right, last but not least about Spark is our PERPS social sharing contest. LA, you want to go over this real quick? All
Yes.
right, the
So
floor is
there's
yours.
definitely been a good handful of you that have been really taking this seriously. But if you haven't started yet, you still have more than half a month, and you have lots of time to get started. So we are giving away $500 to at least one, if not more, winners. It'll either all go to one person or it'll be divided between 2 or 3 people, depending on how many people we see really, really showing up and shining. But when you're trading on our PERPS platform, basically there's a button that allows you to share winning trades, and you will share it on your Twitter feed, on your page, and tag Sparkswap, Dex Finance, and hashtag PERPS on Spark. And you'll make sure you're following both of us, and continue to share your trades throughout the month. And whoever's most active with sharing, whoever is sharing the most of our posts that we're making on anything Sparkswap related, commenting, liking, retweeting, just being super supportive with, helping us to get all Spark related things out there, and is just like outshining everyone by far with being the most social and sharing the most, will win. It's that simple. It's literally never been easier to win $500. It's completely within your control. It's insanely easy to win because all you have to do is share.
Totally.
So that's that. For more in-depth instructions, I did pin a post in all of our channels today.
Awesome. Yeah, no doubt, LA. And again, we are doing this social share competition for this month, but we will also be doing a leaderboard competition towards the end of the month or maybe even next month, depending on our development schedule. We're rolling out so many things, as fast as humanly possible. But yeah, there will be many opportunities to earn, and again, it allows you to help us. What we say is to invest in your investment. So these sort of competitions, not only are they really a great way to help us give back, but it also really helps in building awareness and more volume, because the more volume we do, the more, again, the fees go to all of you through Sparkler and potential, buying pressure on Spark. So again, we're only getting started with perps, and we'll be adding more pairs. We'll have a lot more info with that as we go, but this first social share competition is a great way for all of us to get started. So, all right. Let me see what else. Yep. Okay. LA, you good? All right. Yep.
Yep.
All right. I think. Oh, one more thing with Spark before we get to the announcement of the day. We are again adding our own NFT marketplace. That is again what we mentioned earlier, trying to get ready for the 404 launch. This marketplace will be a great way for you to try to accumulate some more rare NFTs, the Spark 404s, and it will be a way for you to lock your NFTs as well. So one thing with the 404 structure is that you don't want to accidentally get rid of your more rare NFTs. So we had a big discussion today, again, on the development side, about how to even lock your NFTs through the marketplace. So that will be another feature that is extremely important with the 404, but also really bullish for Pulse as a whole. Again, there are a few other NFT marketplaces, but number one, a lot of them don't support the 404 framework, and number two, there is so much noise that it's hard to filter through and find NFTs that you like or have value. And so our NFT marketplaces will be more of what we like to call a boutique marketplace. And the NFTs not only will be our own, but we will have some other partners that will be launching on that marketplace as well. So again, tune in to Thursday. I know a lot of you have been asking about Drippy Inu. We have a lot of exciting stuff to add with the actual marketplace when that goes live. And remember, those fees will also support the ecosystem. So it's yet one more revenue stream for everything that we're building, within our franchise. So, all right, awesome. I think that is it with Spark. LA, any other things that we missed or maybe forgot about with the Spark
No,
ecosystem?
I think that's it.
All right, awesome. And remember too, all of this also applies to Cedo Swap. The infrastructure is exactly the same. Cedo is on Manta network. Spark is on Pulse. But again, hopefully this week, the marketplace over there and some other bullish updates on Cedo as well. So, all right, cool. All right, LA, is it the time that everybody has been waiting for? I don't know. I don't want to. I love it. Yes, all of our
Time,
sound
it's
effects.
time.
All right, so what? The moment you've all been waiting for, we finally have a date for you. So again, this is extremely exciting. I may get a little emotional as well, so we'll try to keep it
Mm.
together here. Ella, you may have to jump in, but we have a date. Buckle up because it's really about to get exciting. We've already seen the excitement and the momentum and the hype come back, and we haven't even announced the date. We've only been teasing it. So, all right, one more drum roll, LA, or wah. Go ahead.
Oh shoot, I exited it.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. There you go. Perfect. Yeah. So, Fusion will be launching officially the week of the 10th to the 16th of June. So that is the second week of June. 2 weeks out, we will give you an exact date. But there you go. Those are the dates. LA, what do you think?
Sorry, I stayed. I was typing into the comments for those who are more visual. I am so pumped. I am so ready. Let's fucking go.
I love it. Yes, again, after all the time waiting, we essentially have all of this in mind. We've said all along that once we had an internal date, we would not delay any longer. We would not intentionally hold any info from all of you. Again, it is still a window. As we get a little bit closer, we'll have an exact date. And again, all the early sacrifice bonuses will be, outlaid based on that date. But we have it. So no more when
Yes.
fusion. Now we know when fusion, right, LA?
There'll always be wins. But obviously we did tell you guys that we would give you 2 weeks notice. We had an internal conversation and we said to ourselves, well, we could just wait 2 weeks for nothing and hold what we said, so we give them 2 weeks notice,
For sure.
or we could do the much better thing and give them the date now and reward everyone in the community with, more time to prepare while we finish out all of this testing and the few things that are left, which we will go through today, and put the date out there, because we know that's what you guys have been wanting for such a long time. And we've said all along that once we have an internal date, you guys are going to have it right away. We literally found out the date, like 4.5 hours ago, 5 hours ago. And
Yep.
so you guys have it immediately. And we've said that all along. The second we have it, you'll have it. So it pays to be on an AMA, because we wanted to put it on the AMA first, because those of you who show up get rewarded, and then we'll put out a post and an email afterwards as well.
Yep, 100%. So, as always, the people in the AMA are the first to know, but all this week we will be following up, getting the word out there of that window. And like I said, as soon as we are within that 2 weeks, a little bit closer, we'll give you an exact date. But this gives everybody time to prepare. It gives you, again, a few more weeks to stack any last minute EMP and ESHARE. Again, we've already seen that moving forward. Again, not financial advice, but especially even eShare, we may not see lows like we had. So make sure you're prepared, make sure your bags are packed, make sure your ducks are in a row, and equally important, get ready to help us spread the word. So I mentioned this at the beginning of the AMA, but now that we have gone official with the sacrifice date, we have really, have all the preliminary white paper and how Fusion works. We have some incredible tutorial videos that are all on our YouTube page. We have everything that anybody needs to get involved or get excited about Fusion. And now it's up to all of you. Again, we're going to be doing our part. Don't worry about that. We're going to be doing AMAs, private groups, you name it. But it is really important that the community rally behind all of that as well. So, Ella, you want to talk a little bit about that? Go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. And before I do that, I just want to say, obviously, some of you are tuning in today who don't know that much about Fusion yet. Maybe you came in when Sparkswap launched, or you're more recent community members and you don't know that much about Fusion yet. That's okay. There's more than enough time to get ready, and that's part of the reason why we're announcing the date now. Fusion is not something you'll want to miss out on, and you have this time now to prepare and get EMP and get eShare while the prices are still quite low, because if you only start getting prepared when sacrifice starts, then you're not going to have an opportunity to take advantage of getting more for less. Obviously, none of this is financial advice, but this is the time to take a few moments and watch the Fusion Explainer series and read the white paper and educate yourself, even whether you do or don't plan to get involved in Fusion. If you're, part of our other ecosystems with Sparkswap and CetoSwap and that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's there on this channel. There's a playlist called Fusion Explainer series. It is the bare bones, most basic way to explain what Fusion is and how it all works. The white paper goes through how everything works. And I can't tell you how often we get questions. Even tonight, I got 2 questions in the Discord that are just so clearly answered in full detail on both of those, both in the white paper and in the explainer series. So I just want to make sure everyone knows that those are there and that everyone should be taking the time to go through them. And even if you have gone through them, refresh yourself on them now that we're so close.
Yep, absolutely, Ella. Great points. And again, I'm going to speak a little bit more to the technical side of things, what we're still working on and why it is this window. But I'm going to let LA continue now with some other updates. One thing I did want to address, is the word sacrifice. So we'll talk a little bit about this at the end, but I think it's important that we talk about it right now. Obviously, I think. Oh, go ahead, LA. Can you want me to save this for later?
Nope.
Or, okay.
No, I just said yep. I'm just
All right.
agreeing with
All
you.
right. Awesome. Sorry. I know that it's breaking up a little bit, so I apologize. Hopefully y'all can still hear me pretty good. Um but yeah, the terminology sacrifice. So again, we did use this term on purpose. Again, there are no expectations of profit from the work of others, and from a legal standpoint, this is the most safe verbiage that we came up with. But remember that this is very, very different than most other sacrifices, and where you're not sure where the funds are going. Maybe you're gonna the founders may or may not make good on what they've said, and there is very little low time frame. So in other words, when you sacrifice, you are getting credit, potentially getting credit immediately. So it's not like you're sending funds to a black hole and you hope that one day they come back. So it's very different than most sacrifices you might be used to. But just from a legal standpoint, we went forward with the sacrifice terminology, and the only way to earn in Fusion moving forward is by getting part of the central grid, and that is only able to be done through sacrificing. So yeah, LA again. Anything you want to add to that really quick? I just want to make sure I saw a comment and wanted to address it. So
Yes, yes. And just to kind of add on to what he says, he said you'll start earning immediately after you sacrifice. So that's why it pays to sacrifice early, because yes, not only are we offering early sacrifice discounts, but or sorry, discounts, multipliers, I mean, but you'll also start earning immediately. And if you're one of the first to sacrifice, if you've ever done any yield farming anywhere and you know how staking works or farming works, if you're one of the first to get in, you get the juiciest APRs while you're waiting for everyone else to get in.
for sure.
Because if you know, it's a pizza and it gets divided between people, and if you're the first person, you're munching on that whole pizza, baby, and it's delicious.
Yes,
So
the
you
EMP
want to get
Fusion
in there.
pizza is gonna
Yeah.
be yeah, the most delicious you ever had. So yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Brian, just to clarify, when I said the explainer series is on this channel, I was referring to our YouTube channel. So after the AMA, if you just click on the EMP series and then you go to playlists, you'll find that there is a playlist with Fusion explainer series. There's also a Sparkswap, an entire educational playlist for Sparkswap on there as well. Playlists are a great asset to anyone who's looking to educate themselves or learn within our ecosystems. And we're going to continue adding more and more educational content. As soon as the Fusion UI goes live, I'm going to be starting to record an entire series of new kind of academy-like videos on Fusion. So I wanted to wait until the UI is live so we can do it in the best way so that new users can actually visualize it all. And until then, they have the explainer series. But that's going to be a place where you'll want to go to learn. So, but yeah, let's dive into this next part.
Yeah, go ahead, Elliot. I'm gonna
Obviously,
let
this
you.
next few weeks
Yeah,
gives you that last chance to stack. Yeah, obviously this next few weeks gives you that last chance to stack any cheap EMP and ESHARE that you're hoping to, and also to earn as much in the farms as you can. Remember, you're earning ESHARE in the farms, and you have these last few weeks to farm as much as you can. And when sacrifice starts, those farms are not going to be there anymore. And so you'll want to farm as much as you can in the next few weeks, even if you don't have additional funds to purchase any more EMP and eShare to prepare. Of course, yes, none of this is financial advice. But yeah, now's your time to get your ducks in a row. But equally important is to get ready to help us spread the word in a massive way. It's important to mention that when it comes to VIP and letting new members in, for now, we're doing it by a case-by-case basis. And it's those of you who are truly shining really bright and showing that you're super passionate about this community who were asking to get in. I have handpicked a number of people in the last few months and invited them to be VIP members, invited them to be admins, because they've just been outshining and like so just far beyond showing that they love this community. They want to help out in any way they can. They want to share everywhere, and they're going to be the first to comment on all of our posts. They're going to be the first to share. They're going to be helping out in the groups. They're going to be eager to help answer questions. They're going to be positive. They're going to have a great attitude. Those are the type of people that we want to have in our VIP, because you will always heavily be influenced by the people you spend the most time with. And our VIP needs to be a place full of positive, helpful people who are passionate about our community. And so you'll notice that we're not planning on opening up an entire huge new roster of VIPs at this very second. It's those of you who are really putting yourselves out there, on our socials and our chats, who show up to our live streams, who attend the external AMAs to support and help promote them. It's all the little things. And it's all the little things that are done without being asked to do them. And I know that we do ask. And there's a lot of you who do these things without being asked. So just know that we're watching, we're paying attention, and there's a lot of stuff we're launching coming up. So it's going to be very, very good to be a VIP. So the best way to have us notice you and pay attention is just to do all those things, not to ask about being a VIP or if you can be one, or if, not to ask anything about it, just to be passionate and do all those things I mentioned. But that being said, now's the time to get ready to help us really, really spread the word about Fusion, because you guys have been asking when Fusion for months and months and months and months now. Now we know when Fusion is, and I have gone over it with you enough that I don't need to go over it again today, but we are going to go on the most ridiculously massive marketing push ever when Sacrifice begins. And we can't do it all alone with getting the word out. We need each and every one of you to massively help us spread the word about all these AMAs, about all this marketing, and help us out in whatever way we can. And that is the way we are going to have this ecosystem absolutely take off and go on fire. It starts with us first, and it branches outwards, and it branches outwards, and it branches outwards, and we create massive momentum. And it's our positivity and passion that exudes outwards. And it starts with us in the team, and then you guys as this amazing community, and we put out this vibe, and that's what we attract more of, and that's what we need. So this is our time now in these next few weeks, not only to prepare financially, but also to prepare for all of that, because once that starts, it's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot thrown at you marketing wise, and we can use any help that you're willing to give.
I love it, 100% LA. And again, I think, as we see eShare take up, and we'll talk about this a little bit towards the end here, peg recovery, I mean, that alone is going to build hype. And so it's up to all of us, again, to share that. And, it's not about, trying to, mislead or create FOMO. It's about really showing people the opportunity. I mean, again, I'm going to get into really the nuts and bolts here of the remainder of our timeline. But the long story short is Fusion is revolutionary. It's not a fork. It is something that has been built by hand. All new game theory and logic behind it. And I think that again, not only is that going to be really cool for us, but I think it's going to be really cool for DeFi as a whole. And once people really see how this operates, I absolutely think that we can license this code. I'm sure we're going to see people try to reverse engineer the code as well. But we have solved so many issues that we see in DeFi protocols where we're eliminating people dumping on our heads, we're providing amazing yield, we're We're making the protocol itself its own revenue generating machine. I mean, there's just so many things that are super exciting for what Fusion actually is. But again, I know all of you want to know, what still needs to be done. So I'm going to go over that a little bit. LA, was there anything else before I get into, what we're still working on? Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's good.
All right, so again, obviously we're about a month of a window. Like LA said, we had always said we were going to do a 2 week window, but we got an internal date today, and we figured why not just share that with everybody, and really get everybody prepared. So again, what is left, is still everything that we said we're working on and is left. Obviously, we have a bit of a bottleneck with the front end development. We showed some screen shares of the UI. The UI is live on a test server. Obviously, when we get to a point where I can share that on a live share, I will. But we're still fine tuning, and this process does take time. And one of the big things, which again I'll talk more at the very end, is that we also have to run migrations. So all the current code, again, DOS, nodes, everything you can see in the white paper, up EMP, all of our current ancillary contracts, they also have to go through a migration to be compatible with Fusion. And we can't do that until, again, all Fusion, not only is Fusion 100% complete, but the UI is complete, all the nuances are there. We've been able to test, we've been able to back check everything, because each migration, because of the size of the code, and again, I know a lot of you probably remember this, a detonator specifically, a detonator is one of the largest smart contracts that you can even write in Solidity. So our original dev, Jake, when he built Detonator, we were looking at ways to even condense the code because we were running into a problem being able to deploy all the logic in one smart contract. So that gives you an idea of how large just Detonator is. And then we have to migrate that again to be compatible with Fusion, the way the sacrifice points work. And the migration for Detonator alone is almost, well over 1 BNB. So, there's also some financial, things we have to plan for. If you count up everything, you're looking at probably at least 5 grand of migration, just in gas fees alone. So we don't want to just migrate willy-nilly until all the ducks are in a row and we're ready to go live. So the final migration will be one of the last things that we do. But again, I mean, that gives you a little more of a background of why, it's an additional few weeks. So we're also testing, again, testing, and retesting the UI. All the logic and contracts are working flawlessly. They have been for a while now, but we're doing our due diligence the best that we can, and that's why with our protocol we have never had an exploit with anything that we've done. And so yes, it takes longer, but longer equals safer for sure. So all right, again, finishing up the UI, we are making sure all the front end and back end are working seamlessly. Things sometimes in the contract, we have a call that happens, and we see, well, wait a minute, we don't have a button that triggers that call, so we have to add a button. So there are some little nuances that, as we're finalizing things, we have to just make sure that everything is integrated together. And then on top of all of that, we have to optimize. So, once the UI and smart contracts are completely done, we still have to make sure that every single wallet, whether it's Ravi or MetaMask or Wallet Connect or any of that framework, works with Fusion. And we have to make sure it works with Fusion no matter what device you're on. So again, the same thing we talked about, getting ready with Spark, the new Spark UI. There is countless hours of testing just the optimization alone. So and user experience, all of that plays into what we're doing. So and as we move forward, there are some last minute amendments that we need to fix with the UI to make it work. So all of it's hand coded. This is not a fork, and we have multiple devs that really, we're even taking Solidity devs or backend devs off of that to do front end work, just so we get it done as fast as humanly possible. So, LA, anything you want to add to that? I think I covered most of what's left, but yeah, I mean it's bullish. We're in the final countdown.
Yes, yes. And the only thing that I'll add to that is when we do finally get to a point where we're going to hand it off to beta testers, that's not going to add any additional time. That is included in this list as well. And I did mean to mention this earlier, but we did mean to say that this date we're giving you guys, we did intentionally set this date because we're making sure that this is like an absolutely safe date that we 100% know we can meet.
For sure.
Did you want to go into that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely, LA. So again, we said it time and time again. We're never going to announce a date that we know that we're not 100% sure that we can meet. And honestly, we were making sure that everything is almost as much of 100% completion as we possibly can before we even announce a date. So all of that has been taken into account. And yeah, to LA's point, in development worlds, you still have to account for a bit of an insurance policy, and that is part of this as well. So 100%, it will be the week that we have said, and again, a few weeks out, we'll give you an exact date as well. And really, as long as you're prepared, the early sacrifice windows will still be 24-hour windows. So no matter where you are in the world, you'll still have an opportunity and you have to pay attention for sure, and you have to be ready to do it quick. But we're not talking, 1 hour windows where you have to stay up all night no matter where you live in the world. So yeah, we've
Yeah,
accounted for all that.
there'll be 24-hour windows.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. 24-hour
Yeah,
windows. Yep.
and I did want to remind everyone of this. I saw it pop up in the questions. It is something we've addressed a few times before, but not for a while. So I thought I'd actually just address it here now as opposed to the Q&A section. But in regards to the final white paper, it will be released only 2 or 3 days before the sacrifice begins. And the reason for that is because it displays all of the final battery prices and information in it. And those are things that need to be done in final testing. The battery stuff needs to be heavily tested coming down to that final wire. And so we can't release all that information until that testing has been finally finalized and complete. And so expect the final version of the white paper to be put out right before sacrifice.
Perfect. Yep. Great point, LA. And again, I know we have a lot of people right now here that have found EMP through Pulse and Spark. And I just wanted to really quickly reiterate that we do have EMP on PulseChain. So if you're listening to this AMA and you want some exposure, definitely you can buy EMP on Pulse. Again, all the contract addresses don't fall for any scams. Also, don't fall for any DMs. We can talk about this at the very end, but we won't be doing sacrifice early. We won't be launching another token, so do not respond to anything that says airdrop or anything that is around Fusion. This is why we have our public AMAs, so you know that it's actually LA and I and the legitimate team rolling all of this out for sure. So, all right, another side note, LA, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Anything to do with fusion and sacrifice in regards to instructions and how everything's going to work, only follow instructions from pinned announcements or things that you hear us say with our own voices on AMAs. And anything we say in an AMA will be followed up with a pinned announcement. And anything that is just written by someone else in the group, anything that is sent to you in a DM, disregard it, because even if it's said by someone else who's a fellow community member, they could be just guessing or speculating and they could have it wrong. So in regards to instructions for what to do, how to do it, when to do it, what to click on, only follow pinned announcements.
Yep, awesome. All right, so one more comment before we get into Q&A, and then yeah, LA, if there's anything else we need to clarify, let me know. But I just do want to take a minute to say that we are going to see a ton of volatility with EMP and eShare as people speculate now, especially now that we have released the actual go live date. So just be prepared for that. It's not going to be a straight up and to the right God candle, although that would be amazing. There is going to be some stair stepping, but what you do need to know is that, we have everything in place that we say when and not if we are able to recover PEG. The entire ecosystem has a full recovery, and DOS contracts are working as intended again, and we have all the mechanisms in place to reduce the supply, reduce the liquidity, and allow people to earn through Fusion. And we see that even now with eShare. We have purposely reduced the liquidity on eShare, which allows people to DCA. Those that want to accumulate eShare can do so over time, and those that want to dump on their heads, they're going to get hit with price impact to do that. And so again, just be very aware when you do see a dip. That's a great time to, again, DTA, not financial advice. I'm just speaking as a crypto veteran, and how, you want to DCA into tokens, whether it's ours or not. But, some people are going to sell when they hit a certain price point, and that's okay. And there may be swing traders, and that's okay too. But at the end of the day, it's all of us that know the most earning will be through Fusion, and sacrificing, EMP to get part of the central grid, and actually earn real yield from everything that we're building. So, don't be tempted to take that short-term profit, and remember the end goal that through Fusion, you're able to earn, what we feel will be indefinitely. As long as crypto is a thing, we will still be earning real yield and sharing it, with our franchises. So definitely, prepare yourself. Never, ever, ever, mark my words, never invest more than you can afford to lose. Not because we think you're going to lose it, but that takes the emotions out of it. And if you're up at night thinking, oh my God, I can't believe eShare is XYZ or EMP is XYZ, that's a really good sign that you may be over invested, and never get yourself in that position. All right, I think that is everything in terms of Fusion. LA, any other thing you want me to go over or clarify before we go into Q&A? Go ahead.
I think that's it. I think that was a really good rundown, and man, am I excited.
I know the day is here. It's almost surreal. Like you said, I was trying not to get emotional and keep it together. Getting a little overexcited. Finally going through all this, but we've worked. I can't even tell you the blood, sweat, and tears behind the scenes, and to finally have a date is just amazing, right, LA?
Yeah, and AJ and I keep talking lately about how fast the days are going by. So I'm sure we're going to blink. And I know I'm going to blink and I'm going to be in Austin for consensus. And then literally Fusion's going to launch like almost right after I get back. So the days are going to pass by so quickly and sacrifice is going to be beginning.
Yeah,
It's
no
going to be
doubt.
crazy.
It is. Like what they say, the crypto is like dog years, but even worse. A minute, yeah, a minute in crypto is like a year in the real world. So yeah, I mean, again, those few weeks are gonna be gone before you know it, and we'll be ready to start earning. I'm so stoked to finally get this all over the finish line for sure.
One thing I do want to say again, I'm not going to go through a whole rant. If you need it, we've done it a few times on previous AMAs, but I am hearing more and more and more people write in recently that have been scammed or hacked. And we've been doing a lot of safety precautions on these AMAs recently, and even writing in our groups about safety precautions. I'm not sure what more we can do aside from writing in the groups and saying it on AMAs. The users themselves need to learn how to protect themselves, and we're working hard to teach everyone how to do that. But I just want to say, please, 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 before sacrifice begins, this is also your time to set some things up to take care of your security so that you're not at risk once sacrifice begins. You need to get yourself a hardware wallet now so that if it takes a week or two to ship in the mail, that you can receive it and set it all up before Fusion starts. Don't delay it anymore. If it's been one of those things that's been on the back of your mind that you keep saying, oh yeah, I got to get around to doing that. Oh yeah, I got to get around to doing that. Do it. Go get yourself a hardware wallet and get it set up. You've got a few weeks now. Hear my voice in the back of your head nagging at you like your mom. Don't think of me as your mom, but hear my voice in the back of your head. Go do it. Go get yourself a hardware wallet. Also, just start teaching yourself a few of the things that we've gone over in previous AMAs on how to protect yourself. It's so easy for any one of us to fall for. You don't have to be a foolish person. You don't have to be unintelligent. The most intelligent with it people are getting scammed these days. And so you have to be incredibly sharp and paying attention at all times. And if you can do any little thing ahead of time to protect yourself and set things up in a way where you'll be protected, it's worth doing. It's worth spending an hour or 2 or 3 ahead of time protecting yourself, because we expect our entire community to do extremely well in Fusion, whether you're the tiniest minnow or the biggest whale, and every single one of us deserves to be safe. So please take that time and set yourself up in the right way. Set yourself up for success.
I love it, LA. And yeah, what a great way to end this little section about Fusion, because yeah, I mean we've said it all along. There's two journeys in crypto. Number one, the first journey everybody takes is building your bags and getting where you want to be, and then you hit this pivotal moment where it's about protecting your wealth that you have built. And going into Fusion, it's so important that all of you start thinking about this sooner than later. And all along the way, that you're worried about actually protecting the wealth that you're building, and all of that is done through everything Ella just said, taking the precautions, always being skeptical. And another really cool part about Fusion is that we've also again, it's not foolproof. You absolutely can still be scammed, but we have reduced a lot of the potential issues of wallet draining and then, tokens being dumped on everybody's heads, where the entire community suffers as well. We've mitigated some of that in Fusion. So, again, it's another reason why this is just a better economic model moving towards, Fusion and all its glory. So, all right, awesome. Good stuff, LA. All right, do you want to read the questions to me? I know I have a few in my notes, and I've seen a few on live chat as well. We have a record
Yep.
number of people here, so before we get into it too, please make sure to smash the like button, like, comment, and subscribe. If you have some questions, feel free to type them in the live chat. We do have a procedure through Discord, but in the in the interest of all of us being here and celebrating, you feel free to type it in the chat as well. So, all right, go ahead,
For
LA.
sure. Yeah, so these first few are from Discord, and it pays to put your questions onto the Discord. Questions, you will always get them asked first if you do so, but we will tonight get to everyone's on YouTube as well. So for the first one, so this is with the ESHARE tokenomics. So the docs do a good job of going over the tokenomics for ESHARE. Can you first of all do a short recap of what the halving model is, and then I'll get to the second part of the question.
Okay, yeah, 100%. So again, eShare is the only token in our ecosystem in terms of EMP that is still inflationary. So EMP, again, is no longer inflationary. It's actually deflationary. And not only will there be a total supply, but over time we'll also burn some EMP as well. And, again, if our numbers, the conservative numbers, are, hoping for half of the total supply being sacrificed, if not more, into Fusion, that will dramatically reduce the amount of EMP that's in existence. But eShare is still emitted, and the reason we do that is, again, part of the reward mechanism. Rather than going to the farms, the new minted eShare goes through Fusion as just part of the rewards outside of the real revenue. But it's on what we call a halving model. So just like Bitcoin, where every few years the amount of new tokens that are put into circulation are cut in half. So we've already done one halving of eShare. Again, forgive me, I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, but I think it was about 10,000 eShare being produced, a year new. Now we're at half of that. So that would be 5,000 a year, and then next year would be half of that, so 2,500, and so on and so on, to where 10 or 20 years from now, you're cutting a half of a half of a half, and so there will be a point where essentially eShare is also deflationary, and by then it's a very low supply token as well. Even if you account for years of this happening, going through, we still have way less than 100,000 total eShare tokens, and that's why the $3,000 eShare of the early days of our ecosystem was because there was very little eShare actually available to buy. So all of that plays into the economics of eShare. LA, does that answer? I don't know if you want to get into, say, the energy part too, but that's a whole nother discussion.
No,
Yeah.
not
Okay.
yet. Yeah. So I pulled it up just so we can give them the numbers. So the first 2 years when we were at full emissions, it was 28,000. And then on January 23rd, we did the halving. So for this year, year 3, it's 14,000. Next year will be 7,000, and year 5 will be 3,500. So I wanted to give these numbers to preface the second part of the question. So the docs cover the next 5 years. Can you explain what happens after 5 years? Does it just keep cutting in half? What happens when it gets down to a really low number in 10 or 12 years from now?
Yep, so twofold. This is a great question. So to answer the first part, as it sits right now, yes, it will just continue to cut in half until, there is, a half of a eShare produced every year, down the road. But, the whole point of this, again, just to take a step back, is that we are reducing the inflation. And, I say if, but when we see the success that we all think and hope and know that Fusion will actually be, we could even stop this happening model sooner, and not rely on the emissions to produce yield. So the whole reason that eShare is inflationary is because that is how rewards are generated. And typically, in protocols like Tomb Forks of what EMP started, and even other DeFi protocols, they're emitting a token, and that is the only way they can produce yield for their ecosystem. Well, now we have been able to produce real yield and get away from all of the inflation, all of the Pontzonomics that we see in other protocols, where the only way to create value is the hope that somebody buys your token or your position higher than what you paid for it. For us, it's about actual revenue, supporting the ecosystem. So when that revenue is high enough that we don't even need to worry about ESHARE emissions, then we can just crank out all the real yield and cut off ESHARE completely, and then you really see the price of ESHARE skyrocket because um, it's a pure utility token in the ecosystem, and if anything, it only continues to get burned from party fees. So again, that's a little bit more, further down the roadmap, inside baseball for all of you. But yeah, the whole idea for now is that it will just continue to get less and less, and the entirety of each share could be way less than 100,000 total tokens, which is extremely low for any token in crypto, for sure.
Amazing. Awesome. So, next question. I'm unclear on the effect that the price of EMP in the future will have on the performance of Fusion. Will ups and downs in the price of EMP outside of Fusion affect how Fusion performs, i.e., with yields being affected?
Yeah, again, another great question. So, we are giving everybody a one-to-one peg value. So what that means is, again, just for easy math, if you sacrifice your EMP today, if you're looking at actual dollar value, um, you'd be getting, again, the math is a little harder than it sounds, but if Ethereum was $4,000, EMP is 4,000 to 1. So that means that EMP would be $1, and that ratio is still staying the same. A lot of other protocols move the goalposts and just redo their ratio in order to recover peg. That's cheating. So we're not doing that. EMP is still staying 4,000 to 1, but through our sacrifice mechanism and reducing liquidity and using our treasury and real yield, we have every intention of recovering peg completely. And even if we haven't recovered peg, you're still getting the dollar value of peg. So we do this because we're so confident that we can make it happen, and that really it's about how much EMP is in circulation as well. So we're giving you a future value on your EMP if you choose to sell. And what that means is when we do recover peg, you can list your microgrid NFT for sale at peg value. So again, that could be up to 10x depending on where you bought your EMP at off the market, and then what it's valued at peg. So that's where the number, the actual price matters. Um, and moving forward, we are still going to maintain peg. So, and sacrifice, remember, is indefinite because we always want new users to join uh, the Fusion ecosystem as well. So there will be, again, some other game theory based on the price of EMP, where if it goes below peg, you may be able to buy it at a discount, and now you're getting, a position in Fusion for a bit of a discount when it's below peg for a little bit. So again, we have everything in place to maintain peg, but there will be these small arbitrage opportunities as well. So that's another factor that keeps us in parity because, if people wanted to earn from Fusion and they can buy EMP for a little less, it's not going to remain less for a while because, again, that's just how arbitrage works, and especially if the yield is worth it inside of Fusion. So those are just some factors to be aware of. Again, the whole idea is that yes, there will probably be people that sell EMP on the way up, but remember that means that they're not getting any yield from Fusion by just selling their EMP. So it's that dilemma of whether you want instant gratification and being done forever and potentially making a lot less, or if you want to have that delayed gratification and really set up an income for yourself for years to come through Fusion. So, yeah. All right, LA, does that explain? I don't know if you want to add to that.
It does. The only thing I'll add is that then eShare also comes into play because, just a reminder, the price of eShare will affect the APRs. So the higher the price of eShare, the higher the APR because the emissions are in eShare.
For sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and to that point though, remember that eShare emissions and that APR, what Ellie says is 100% true. But just
are part
understand,
of the
right?
reward.
Exactly. There's only what I mean. We did the math on the other AMA, I think, but eShare emissions are just like 1 out of 8 revenue streams. I think LA. It's a ridiculous number. So yeah, totally
For sure. Yeah, for
cool.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here's another one. I feel like you probably just answered this, but I want to make sure this person feels acknowledged and see if you have anything else to add.
For sure.
Can you run over how once at peg, how EMP follows the price movements? Oh no, never mind. You didn't answer this one. Could you run over how EMP at peg, once at peg, how I can't read. Can you run over how once at peg, how EMP follows the price movements of ETH, a sort of basics on the mechanisms behind it?
Yep, absolutely. So again, I just discussed about being at peg, but what does that actually mean? So we've said all along, and it's part of our goal with EMP from the very, very beginning, is that we maintain not only price exposure to Ethereum, meaning if you own EMP, you get exposure to actual Ethereum because EMP is essentially fractionalized Ethereum. And obviously, when we broke Peg, that was no longer the case anymore. But as long as we maintain Peg, then EMP is 100% fractionalized ETH. And what that means is through our liquidity bonding, 1 EMP will always be worth, or I'm sorry, 4,000 EMP will always be worth 1 ETH, that 4,000 to 1 ratio. And so the really cool part about all of this is that we maintain, again, that price exposure. So imagine that ETH goes to $8,000 rather than $4,000. Now every EMP is worth $2 rather than $1 simply because, again, of our liquidity bonding to Ethereum. So it's really cool because you can yield under EMP without ever really losing that exposure to Ethereum. Now, again, you have to trust that we are able to maintain PEG. But now that we don't, the EMP is no longer inflationary. We have a real yield system. It's way different than when we lost PEG originally in the original protocol. So, does that help, LA? I don't know if hopefully I didn't go make that too complicated, but it's exciting for me when I talk about it because I get so excited to hold EMP myself. So yeah, go ahead, Alec.
Oh yeah, yeah, amazing.
Cool.
Okay, we have one more from Discord, and then we'll move to YouTube. When buying eShare, we get botted even with small amounts like $30. Will there be any options in the future to buy that are bot protected, such as through the Fusion Marketplace?
Yeah, so we absolutely are looking into that. I know, on the larger amounts, and please make sure that you are using slippage, very low slippage tolerance. Um, Unfortunately, we don't have our own decks on BSC. That might be, again, something that we do in the future that eliminates bots. The front-running bots can be, a real problem, and that's the beauty of Sparkswap and Swap is that we have eliminated all of the front-running bots and sandwich bots and all the issues that we're seeing with other tokens. And so the short answer is just set your slippage extremely low, 0.1%. That way, if you do get front run, you'll just lose the gas, but you won't get hit with major price impact. And then number two, do it over time. So again, rather than trying to buy, $1,000 of eShare in one shot, you're gonna shoot the price up and get front run probably on yourself. So you're much better doing, 10 $100 buys over time, as well. So, but no, when Fusion is finally here, we are looking at other zapping options, and eventually we're going to be moving to protocol-owned liquidity completely, as well as building a substantial V3 position for concentrated liquidity that the Treasury owns for PancakeSwap. So we definitely have things that will be in the works to alleviate that. Right now, it's just the wild, wild west, and that's kind of the fun of the speculation on eShare as we move into Fusion. Who knows where it's going to go? We don't even know. The team, again, people say, how high can eShare go? I mean, that's up to everybody, not us. So again, it's exciting to see.
100%. All right, let's move over to YouTube. Will Fusion go cross-chain?
Yeah, so again, this is part of our roadmap. We were really hoping to be able to do this with the L1X technology. Whether we are or aren't, that still remains to be seen. But I think that interoperability is the way of the future with crypto, no matter what. And we definitely would implement things down the road that further that interoperability. So yeah, I mean, technically, you know, I guess Fusion itself isn't going to be cross-chain, but the EMP is already. You can buy EMP on Pulse and then bridge it over to sacrifice into Fusion. So we're already interoperable in that respect, but we definitely will be adding more and more options, and hopefully through L1X and L1 DEX, we're able to accomplish all of that.
Sorry, I was answering something in the comments.
No worries.
Yeah, I would love for you to answer this question, but then also go into a little bit. I know you're not going to go strategy so much so in regards to like stacking, but I hear a lot of people saying, oh, this is the play or that is the play. But a lot of the time when they're saying these things, it's from the standpoint of holding on to things so that they can sell them when the price hits certain levels. And I feel like that way of thinking is really disregarding the main point of Fusion, which is earning for literally years, potentially decades to come inside this incredibly innovative, sustainable model. So can you answer this question, but then also kind of go into a strategy, non-strategy for accumulating prior to sacrifice in that kind of mindset?
Yep, absolutely. I love it.
So eShare is really the play because it has a low market cap and can rise with the protocol, right? Because basically EMP will perform at ETH's market cap, or can we go above peg?
Yeah, so to that point, LA, again, nothing I'm about to say is financial advice. It is, and this isn't even us trying to tell you what is best for the protocol, because what is best for the protocol is irrelevant now, because of the way Fusion operates. There is no way that there can be people dumping on each other's heads that creates all this issues that we've seen in other protocols. So again, I just want to preface everything before I get into it with that. But as of right now, obviously there's two tokens. There's EMP and there's eShare. And I like to look at it as eShare obviously will be energy or the actual utility token within Fusion. And because of that, there will be a ton of economic energy, buys and sells on eShare every single day. And so typically, when you have a lot of economic energy and a very low supply, the price goes up. And again, that's not speculation on my part. I'm just talking economics. So again, that being said, it's also much more volatile, meaning, as fast as that price goes up, the price can go down as well, again, because of low supply and, also determining liquidity, which we definitely plan on adding more liquidity to eShare once Fusion is up and rolling, and we see, how much transaction volume is actually happening. But again, if it were me, I would not be sleeping on EMP because EMP is your gateway to earning in Fusion, and that's I think what LA was getting at a little bit. Again, we talk about this age-old dilemma of uh, do you want, $100 today or $1 a day forever? Well, obviously $1 a day forever, and again, not including inflation or market conditions or World War III or whatever else. But just hypothetically speaking, you would always want to choose your passive income or creating an actual income stream for yourself. And that's how the richest people in the world generate wealth. Again, they have businesses or products that pay them every day. They're not just selling their stock and moving on until they're ready to retire. So again, this is all proven economic models that work over the long run. And so, yeah, I think that the number one play, as long as you trust in EMP and you understand that we have the track record and we never give up and we continue building and we never go away, obviously the no-brainer play is to accumulate as much EMP as you can and sacrifice all of that into Fusion to earn the yield from what we're doing. Now, again, we can't speculate on what the yield will be. I do know that we have substantial revenue and treasury to support the yield, and we all believe that crypto is only going to get more and more valuable over time. All of those things you have to believe in, but if you do, there, in my opinion, in crypto that you could potentially earn the way that Fusion will deliver. So again, now financial advice. I know everybody wants a play-by-play game, plan, but it's very individual for all of you. If you are more of a swing trader or want to just speculate on price, eShare might be a better way. But if you're looking to really get involved with us for the long term, EMP and sacrificing into Fusion is the way to go. So, LA, did I say too much? I don't know how to answer
No,
that.
that was great.
All right,
No,
cool.
that was great. And I just want to kind of add on to what I said. I don't want to make it at all sound like I was implying that holding on to some eShare to speculate on and sell at down the line is bad, because I've said it before, and I would be lying if I didn't say that I have personally a small chunk that I'll hold on to, that maybe 1 or 2 years down the line when we hit $10,000 eShare, I'll sell. But you'll never hear me say, when it comes to Fusion, eShare is the play. Oh, eShare is the play, guys. That's what you're really sleeping on, because yes, eShare is incredibly important within the Fusion ecosystem, absolutely, but so is EMP. And it's all about earning yield. We build protocols where earning yield is the main focus, and where we give back to our users in as many ways as possible. There's literally at this point 7, 8, maybe 9 different revenue streams from our different ecosystems and different sources that are flowing straight into Fusion to bolster the rewards on top of our emissions. We're going to continue to build and grow. I mean, probably shouldn't say this, but we were having a conversation yesterday on our smaller dev meeting. There was just 3 of us on it, and one of our lead devs was saying, Yeah, so once we get Fusion finished, we're going to have to talk about what we're building next so we can keep our guys busy.
For
And I said,
sure.
well, I mean, we're going to keep building. There's no way we're ever going to slow down. So we should probably all plan on having a talk about what's next, what we're going to build next. And we all started throwing ideas out. It was so fun. But I mean, there's very likely going to be more revenue streams added to it. Let's just be honest, because you know us, we don't ever slow down or stop building. And once Fusion's finally done and we can stop hearing when Fusion 1,000 times a day, I can't tell you how much stress and pressure that will take off of us and how much room, both physically and mentally, that will give us to build more, honestly.
For sure.
So that being said, whether you're doing kind of equal amounts of EMP and ESHARE or slightly more EMP, not advice whatsoever, but Fusion is about building your ownership in the central grid so that you can be earning more energy rewards, aka ESHARE. For those of you who don't have a big, huge bag to sacrifice into Fusion, that's okay. This system was designed so that whether you're a minnow, a whale, or anything in between, you win. You can thrive. And so if you're a minnow and you want a leg up to build your ownership as quickly as possible, especially at the beginning when you're a very early sacrificer, in my opinion, so this is not advice, but in my opinion, the best play would be to buy back and earn for the first chunk of time, so that you're basically, if you haven't watched the explainer series, what that means is that you're basically compounding your earnings so that your energy rewards go back to buying more EMP to build your central grid ownership, so that your base principal becomes larger and larger and larger. If you're a minnow, or even if you're a whale, but especially if you're a minnow trying to catch up to the whales, in my opinion, that would be the best play, especially at the beginning when the APRs are super juicy because you're one of the first people in. And then we don't know what's going to happen to the APRs because they could actually get better and better and better with time. We don't know yet. That's the thing. We have no idea. But with all these revenue streams and marketing and everything, it could get better and better with time. But yeah, I think I've explained it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, perfect, 100%. And yeah, I know there are a few more questions in the live chat. I just want to address it really quick while I'm looking at it, and because it plays into this. So the question is, uh, if we buy a central grid and have one, can we combine them into one? So yeah, that is again the really cool part is the only way to get earning in Fusion is again through the central grid, where you either have to sacrifice your EMP buying and sacrificing it, or if you already have it, you sacrifice it and you get your central grid ownership that way.
A
Or
microgrid.
I'm
Yep.
sorry, microgrid. Yes, thank you, LA.
Yeah.
Again, I'm trying to even confuse myself. The microgrid, the central grid is the entire pizza pie, so to speak, and your microgrid is your individual ownership. So yeah, and again, it confused me because even in the comment, it wasn't right. So microgrid is again micro meaning central is meaning overall. So anyway, to the point is yes, you're able to combine them. And this is really cool because again, what the number one thing, and again we solved it with 404s, but that's a whole nother conversation. The number one issue with NFTs is that that sometimes it's hard to cash out of your NFTs because you have to have a buyer in order to sell your position. So again, say you're in Fusion for 10 years, you've earned amazing yield, you're ready to retire. There may be a situation where the only way to get into Fusion, again, because EMP is a supply capped token, is that you have to buy your the central I'm sorry microgrid off of a user that's willing to sell. And there may be the yield may be so good in Fusion that there aren't a lot of people that want to sell their microgrids. And, very similar to, like, I guess, New York real estate or, other income producing assets, the idea is that you live off the yield, and that alone can create some incredibly powerful, side effects of the price because yield is so good, everybody that got in is in, and now there may not be a lot of secondary action, and that means the only way to get in is to buy EMP off the market, and that is just pure buying pressure that helps support PEG. So, and who knows, maybe down the road the entire supply of EMP is in Fusion, and at that point, it's basically, game over for any new users, and everybody in has to just wait until somebody wants to sell, which, could be never, if the yield is still as good as we think it is. So, yeah. All right. Sorry, that was just a little bit of
Absolutely.
rabbit hole
No,
game
that was
theory,
great.
yeah, down the road.
Yeah, that's
So, yeah,
great. Awesome. Um, I love that you even incorporated like buying other people's microgrids. That was great.
yeah, for sure.
I can tackle this one because it kind of just adds on to what we were just discussing. So Simon's asking, so is it better to sacrifice EMP, eShare, or both? So um, just to add on to what I was saying before, definitely both. So just to kind of add on, just to reiterate, or not even reiterate, but remind. So when you're sacrificing your EMP, you are getting your microgrid and you're building up your ownership position of the central grid. So you're basically staking your EMP into a single staking EMP pool, and that's what's going to allow you to earn your daily energy rewards. When you're sacrificing your eShare, you are allowing yourself to purchase batteries, to purchase power ups, which basically allow you to like instantly fill up your battery before it's even full and turn it over. Um, you're purchasing things that are sold in the marketplace, like someone else's microgrid. Um, Basically, all things that allow you to gamify the system and get ahead a lot quicker. So it's really important to have eShare to sacrifice as well, because you can work the system to your favor, and it's going to be really, really fun. Fusion's going to be such a fun time because the community is going to be such a big part of developing strategy when it comes to Fusion, because this has never been done before. This is brand new code on the internet. So um you guys are going to be such a big part of like literally figuring out how to gamify things and what's going to help you earn quickest and what batteries to use and when to use them and when to upgrade your batteries and when to power up and like all these things. So it's really important to have both. You can get away at the very beginning with just EMP, but as soon as you want to cash out or do anything with batteries, you're going to need to sacrifice eShare as well. And just a reminder, if you are sacrificing eShare, there are power packs that you can get. So you can get bonuses on sacrificing your eShare for energy. So it is really recommended to have both. Both are very important.
Perfect. Amazing. Yep. I don't have anything to add to that. Ellie killed it. Yeah. And again, the gamification is the really, really cool part. And if you know us and what we've built over the last 2.5 years, game theory is what I get most excited about. Again, I mean, I know enough to code. I don't consider myself a developer, but implementing different game theory into what we're doing is what I really enjoy doing. And we work with some of the most amazing architects out there. Again, shout out to Cody who helped us build Fusion. All of you, that have all the beta testers that helped add even more game theory to things that we may not have even thought about. So again, at the end of the day, it is a game, and that's what we've said. Even with Detonator and DOS, all of these, yes, potentially some incredible financial gain and generational wealth and everything that passive income, everything you want. But there is, again, at the core, this is still a game for sure.
Yes. All right. So we've gone over this topic a gazillion times, but I know that you're a patient man, so I'm going to get you to do a short answer to this one.
For sure.
It's your favorite topic.
Well, I don't know.
How
As
will
long as it's
those
not
in...
no more when fusion, so I can answer anything now. I love it. Yeah, go
It's your
ahead.
second favorite topic. How will those locked in detonator benefit from fusion
Yes.
and the nodes?
Yeah, totally. I knew where this was going. So yeah, again, detonator nodes, any of the secondary contracts, rather than just saying, sorry, oh well, everybody's straight out of luck, we're retiring those and moving on. We came up with ways to make good on those contracts while still not at the detriment of the entire community, and actually revitalizing those contracts to where everything that they were originally designed to do is still the case. And so the short answer is with peg recovery alone, we should see detonator and all DOS products, as well as any other secondary contracts, make a full recovery. And so how it will work is rather than being able to claim and dump on all of our heads, like 90% of people in uh, those contracts are doing, and why we're in the position we're in, and the pool balance is draining, it essentially stops the bleeding of those contracts. And the only way to cash out is through your microgrid. So you any claiming from DOS or nodes, I'm just going to call them DOS so that, again, I mean any secondary contract, uh, any claiming is applied to your central grid, therefore your microgrid, and then you can still cash out, but you have to sell your microgrid to realize your profit. If you hate EMP and you think we suck and you don't want to be involved, you can't dump on our heads. You can only sell, and the goal is that we want that there will be a big demand for people buying microgrids on the secondary market. So again, it's a win-win for everybody, whether you want to be here or not. We're not we're still giving you the opportunity to make what you think why you got involved in the first place with those contracts. Now again, that's not a promise. They're not certificates of deposit. They are also a game, and we may have to make additional changes as we go, but we've done all the math and all the projections, and this is the number one way to make good on everything we can, without again being a detriment to our protocol overall. So LA, again, you want to elaborate on that a little bit, or I'll try not to be too pessimistic, but yeah, go ahead.
I do not wish to elaborate on that. No,
All right,
thank
there
you.
you go. Perfect. And again, the whole idea at the end of the day is that those contracts, they're built as intended, and as long as the pool balance is not draining, then people will get excited, and there may even be a way to earn more, build your central or your microgrid more through those contracts than if you sacrifice alone. And then we really start seeing the game theory come into play on that. So again, there's a
Mm.
lot of variables.
Yes. And so just a reminder, because there's some chatter in the chat, but if you still have EMP to get, if you don't have any, or if you need more prior to sacrifice, the lower the price you're getting it at, the more X's you're getting on your peg bonus. The closer and closer we get to peg, the less of a bonus you're getting. Especially this week with ETH being at 2,900, you're getting even more of a bonus because ETH was a lot higher than that a week or two ago, which means the price of EMP was higher. Or I guess no, we weren't actually. We were lower in peg, so that didn't matter. But we're getting higher and higher and higher in peg. Even since being on this AMA, it's jumped up. So every day now that we've announced this date, we're going to put out written posts tomorrow. I'm going to blast out an email to everyone. We're going to announce it on socials. More and more people are going to find out the date is out. So we do anticipate getting closer and closer to peg as we get closer and closer to sacrifice. So if you're planning on getting your EMP, those of you who are on the AMA have a little bit of a head start.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
All right.
Well,
Was that it, LA? There's one more thing I want to say, but
yep.
I didn't want to cut you off. So, Hot Llama, again, one of our amazing community members, been here from the very beginning, has an NFT after him. He put something really cool that I think is a great way to wrap things up with. And he says the best strategies will evolve by virtue on being engaged with the ecosystem. And what an amazing sentence, because that is so true and something that we have really spent a lot of time in the development of Fusion, making sure is the case to where, again, those that are the most engaged, those that have been here with us from the beginning, that did not get fudded out of their own bags, that did not, leave and come back, that just continue to invest or at least support what we're doing, realizing that we never abandoned anybody. We just kept building through the bear, yada yada yada. That is who the people will benefit the most from with Fusion. And really, again, it's such poetic justice because uh, not only are they going to benefit the most, but they have a position to where now we can go through an entirely new round of onboarding users. And again, now those new users have the opportunity to get involved. And so, unlike a lot of other protocols, yes, the ones that were here first and have been, engaged, they will have a slight advantage, but it's not anywhere near, early whales buying a token and then dumping on everybody's heads and needing, new users as exit liquidity. If anything, the new users are actually going to be pushing the price up and the yield up over time as well. So again, it's just we've designed things so differently, and it makes it just really bullish for the future. So I love that sentence, and I think it wraps it up. I mean, again, we spent a lot of time taking all that into account. So, all right, LA, any final
Yes.
questions or words or anything? Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, I do have one more thing that I want to say in regard to the white paper. So you did hear me say that the final version of the white paper will be coming out a few days before sacrifice. I did want to add a little bit to that just to be really clear about what that entails. So nothing in the current white paper is going to change. So if you're looking for details about sacrificing, about bonuses, none of the information that's currently found in the white paper is going to be any different when the final version comes out. The only thing that's going to change is that we're adding some more information to the final version about battery prices and that kind of thing. So if you have any questions about bonuses, multipliers, sacrificing, how different parts of the ecosystem work when it comes to sacrificing, all of that can be found in the white paper, and the details that are found today are not going to be different when the final version comes out. So I just want to be really clear on that, because I don't want people to say, oh, well, LA said there's another version of the white paper coming out. It's probably, everything's going to be different. So I should just wait and find out then. Like, no, I just want to make sure you all know that none of that stuff's going to change. We're just adding a few things that aren't on there yet.
Yep, great point, LA. Again, we would never fundamentally change anything that we've already put out there. This is all just supplemental, last minute information. Again, LA mentioned it earlier, but the big thing that we just have to wait till literally the very end is the battery pricing. But that isn't gonna, that won't augment the white paper in terms of economics. It's just something that we have to add at the last minute. So. Yeah, and the way it sits now, I mean, again, not a lot of people have even read the white paper, but if you actually take the time to read it, you may have to read it a few times. That's okay, don't get overwhelmed. Do it bit by bit. But if you actually digest the white paper, you will be miles ahead of others in terms of how to, again, play the game of Fusion for sure.
Amazing. Well, we are so incredibly excited, guys. I cannot tell you how amazing of a day it's been. We didn't tell you this, but we actually have another super insanely bullish meeting starting in 15 minutes. So we may even have more good news in the near future. So we are going to wrap up now, but I hope you're all as excited as we are. There is a lot coming with the Spark 404s this week, with Fusion in a few weeks, with Consensus in a couple weeks. I mean, let the games begin. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's fucking
I
go.
love it. Let's fucking go. Awesome, LA. Yes, again, a an absolute monumental day today. One of our most anticipated live streams and days of significance in our entire ecosystem. And the next big milestone will be the day that Sacrifice goes live. So we're closer than ever. Now you have a date to plan on. Again, we'll give an exact date in terms of the day, the minute, the hour, as we get about 2 weeks out or so. So you can plan on that. But the second week of June is where we are, and don't say that we didn't give you enough time or enough warning to pack your bags. So get ready. Again, not financial advice. Join us and come along this journey as we go into the overall bull run, and literally everything is firing on all cylinders with our franchise. So, all right, awesome, LA. Thank you. Thank you to everybody that's here. Again, record numbers on the AMA. Please share this AMA, like, comment, and subscribe, but also share this AMA with some other communities you may be involved in, private groups. Again, be respectful, don't shill, but we do have a name in crypto, and I think a lot of people are going to be interested to hear that EMP is putting together a plan and has built a new part of their protocol to literally resurrect and get back on track and be one of the premier protocols that never rugged, that never went away, that has recovered peg fully and now is providing real yield, in the heart of a bull run later this year. So that is what you want to focus on for sure. So all right, we will be back next. Well, Thursday. We do this AMA every Monday and Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. On that AMA, we'll be going over the Spark 404s. We also may have a special guest with one of the first NFTs to be included in our marketplace, and lots of other info. Again, any updates on Fusion we may have. We go over our entire, again, franchise every AMA. So, all right, that'll do it. LA, any, again, final words, or we'll sign off?
Ready to sign off. Love you guys.
All right, cheers, everybody. Good night, good day. We'll see you on Thursday.